Hello. Since you've clicked on this video, I assume that you're wanting to learn Python. Python is one of the most popular programming languages and is greatly looked for within multiple industries and is generally a good skill to possess overall. Python is simple, powerful, and an easy to learn language with many practical applications. During this series, I'm going to teach you everything you need to get started with Python and to eventually master it. While there are many reasons to learn Python, here are some of the key ones I've selected. Python is a simple programming language that uses simple English descriptive words to tell the computer what to do. Python has a wide range of users online that can offer support if needed. Python has support for a local interpreter, which means that you don't actually need to create files to run code. Python has a huge range of libraries, which I will talk about later within the series, but these can make your programming experience a lot easier. Python is also supported on all major operating systems, including those which are industry-based. So, what will you actually need to follow this series? The first thing that you'll need is a computer. The operating system doesn't really matter due to Python being supported on most. However, I would not recommend programming on a mobile operating system. I would also recommend using an IDE to begin learning Python, as they can offer a wide range of features to make programming easier. An example of this would be an autocomplete function, however, the use of an IDE is not required. If you do choose to use an IDE, I would personally recommend using Visual Studio Code. However, this is not required. There are many other IDEs available. I recommend that you pick an IDE that is suitable for your own needs. Most IDEs do have very low system requirements, so you can run them on any device. However, an exception to this would be PyCharm, as it tends to reserve a lot of RAM. If you don't want to use an IDE, you can use the default idle editor that comes with Python, or you can use Notepad. What will I actually cover in the series? This series is going to cover everything that you need to confidently begin using Python. I'll initially start with some basic concepts needed to understand Python, and then eventually move on to some of the higher level concepts that we can use to create more advanced programming. Within the first episode, you will be able to write a basic Python program, and then we can build up from there. As for the rest of this introductory video, I will now show you how to install my preferred IDE, Visual Studio, and Python itself. So, when installing the things needed to follow this series, I would first recommend it to see if the system already has Python on it, and if so, which version. So the way to do this would be to open up Terminal or Command Prompt for Windows. Once you've opened this, all you need to type is Python --version. So as we can see on this system, which is Mac OS, Python 2.7.16 is already installed. So for these tutorials, we'll actually be using Python 3 as that is the newest release. So to get Python 3, all you need to do is go to the Python website and download the latest version, which is visible on the homepage. At the time of recording this, the latest version is 3.8.3, which is what I'll be using for this tutorial series. Once Python is finished downloading, click it to open the installer. Go through this and install Python as needed for your system. Once Python is installed, it should open up with a folder. As you can see, the idle editor, which was mentioned earlier, is also installed with Python. You won't need anything else in here currently, however, we can now check to see if the latest version has been installed to our system. You will need to open a new command prompt or terminal window to get an updated refresh on what Pythons are currently installed. To check if Python 3 is installed, we'll do the same as last time, however we'll put a 3 after the word Python like so. As you can see, our system now has Python 3.8.3 installed, and we can now install an IDE before we can start programming. For this part, I recommend that you get the IDE of your choice that you wish to use for this series. I personally will be using Visual Studio Code, so I'll go to the Visual Studio Code website. Unlike with Python, when you install Visual Studio Code, you won't have to go through an installation setup, and it will do this for you. The only thing that I'd recommend at this point, if you are using Visual Studio Code, is to download the Python extension. Once this has been done, you have everything you need to follow the rest of this tutorial series.